True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient, for he that is so wants nothing. The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he is not. Everyone wants to be happy. But if you ask 10 people what happiness is, you'll probably get 10 different answers. We live in a frenetic age where happiness increasingly seems like a mirage. We seek it in success, in the things we possess, in the gaze of others. Yet, almost 2,000 years ago, the Roman philosopher Seneca reminded us of a simple and powerful truth. Happiness does not depend on what happens outside of us, but on how we choose to deal with it. In his work De Vita Beata, The Happy Life, he tries to understand how it is possible to live well, even amidst the inevitable difficulties of existence. Seneca invites us to cultivate inner serenity. We can't prevent life's difficulties from arriving, but we can learn not to be enslaved by them. Man's true wealth, he said, is not what he possesses, but his ability to be self-sufficient. True happiness does not depend on external factors, but on inner strength. True happiness lies not in the constant pursuit of pleasure or the satisfaction of fleeting desires, but rather in a state of inner balance, virtue, and acceptance of one's destiny. For Seneca, happiness is not the absence of problems. It is not even continuous pleasure or the possession of material goods. Happiness does not consist in possessing many things, but in wanting nothing. True happiness comes from a life in accordance with virtue, that is, with conduct guided by reason, honesty, and a sense of justice. He who trusts in reason and virtue lives happily. Stoic philosophy, which Seneca represents, emphasizes the importance of virtue, reason, and acceptance of the course of events as the keys to happiness. Happiness lies not in luxury or fame, but in moderation and simplicity, in sincere friendship, in peace of mind, in the ability to appreciate what is already with us. Seneca reminds us that happiness is not a distant goal, but a possibility always within our reach. It arises when we learn to govern ourselves, rather than letting ourselves be swept away by passions and external events. This means that, according to Seneca, happiness is possible for anyone, because it does not depend on what we have, but on how we live. The path to happiness does not lie in luxury or glory, but in a simple and balanced life. A life nourished by a few essentials: sincere friendship, awareness of the present, peace of mind. In this sense, Seneca still offers us a key to liberation today, to revalue what we already have and learn to desire less. The problem, he said, is that many people look for happiness in the wrong places. In things that vanish, in the judgments of others, in endless ambitions. And so instead of living, they spend their lives chasing what will never make them happy. He who chases pleasure forgets everything else and, first of all, neglects his own freedom, putting it at the service of the belly. In short, he sells himself to pleasures instead of buying them. Seneca criticizes those who obsessively pursue pleasure, arguing that this leads to neglecting what is truly important, such as virtue and wisdom. The unbridled pursuit of pleasure, according to Seneca, not only distracts from the pursuit of true happiness, but also leads to a dissipated and meaningless life. Seneca does not propose a life without pleasures, but a life in which pleasures do not rule. We can enjoy what we have, but without becoming slaves to it. Happiness is having a free, tranquil mind, not subject to fears or immoderate desires. For this reason, for him, happiness is also self-discipline, knowing how to say no to what distracts us and yes to what makes us better. Today, perhaps more than ever, this message is timely. We live in a world that pushes us to always want more, to constantly compare ourselves with others. Rereading Seneca is like looking in the mirror. It calls us to take responsibility for our lives. But if we follow Seneca, we can stop measuring our lives by external standards and start asking ourselves, is my life consistent with my values? Perfect happiness may not exist, but a happiness is possible. A happiness born of the restraint, courage, and wisdom of living fully who we are. Seneca doesn't leave us a magic recipe, but he offers us a path to remind ourselves every day that life is short and that it's up to us to live it fully and serenely. If Seneca's words inspired you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Let's keep this wisdom alive together. Thanks for watching.